Last week, I had the pleasure of meeting and interviewing Sergeant Major retired Keith L. Craig, a dynamic man who's known as an international best-selling author because of his book, Serving to Lead, an incredible book about leadership.
I should point out that you work with a lot of leaders, even though you yourself, you're a leader there. You were there in the military. You also played professional football. I got to ask you before I go back to that leadership question, because when I read that you actually played professional football in the European League while you were serving, how did that happen, and how did you maintain that hectic schedule?
Well, it happened one day because, coming out of high school, I had multiple college scholarships, but I had to forego those scholarships in order to help take care of my mom and sister. So I came into the military to obviously to have a job. So in doing that, years later, fast forward, I was reading the USA Today, and I saw in the paper where the NFL was starting a spring league. It was going to be called NFL Europe. And that's where I saw my opportunity to get back into the game. So I went to my platoon sergeant and asked him about, hey, is it possible that could I try out for this, whatever. So, but no one knew that I was actually, parade, All-American in high school. And I had, skipped those things to come in for a specific reason. But eventually I took leave and went to training camp and ended up being worked out by a few NFL coaches. And that's where I ran a 4.37 40 and had a 42-inch vertical. So I tested very well, and I went back to the organization unit and said, I think it may work out, will you guys support me, because it's going to be a long time. And what happened was I ended up getting sent to JAG because, in the military, if it's determined that you're going to make more money than your command, they think somehow that your discipline will be somehow out the window. So I ended up going to JAG, Judge Advocate, and being counseled and briefed, and eventually they supported me. I went to Orlando, Florida for a 3-month camp and made the team and got drafted, and got drafted by my hometown team in Alabama, but eventually got traded back to Frankfurt because with any new league, a fan base is very important. So once they knew I was playing European Bundesliga football, Jack Elway traded for me and brought me back to Frankfurt Galaxy to be a wide receiver for the Frankfurt Galaxy in 1991.
You're watching The Kelly Wright Show. We'll be back with much more after the break. Welcome back to the program. So his book is called Serving to Lead, and I'm talking to Sergeant Major retired Keith L. Craig, and just a remarkable story, Keith. If I could go back to your beginnings, humble beginnings, and yet look where you are today, that took a lot of faith, did it not?
Absolutely. Faith is what I had to hold on to, especially when you're a young child. You just, you know how it is when you don't know where you're going, but you know where you don't want to be. So you kind of have to just follow that little intuition inside of you and just trust, that what is supposed to be will be. And my philosophy in life is, when in doubt, lean forward, move forward, not pause. So it took me away from, where I was, and took me on to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, in basic training.
But you wrote this book, Serve to Lead, and you have lived a life of service. I mean, let's face it, you were serving in harm's way when you wanted to combat, and not many people understand, if they haven't served, what combat is like and what it requires in terms of your heart and soul and brain power to put into a combat situation to serve. To me, it's the ultimate service, other than, as some soldiers have done, giving their lives for the service and the freedom of this country. Share with me, if you will, how far that service goes, not just combat, but beyond, serving to lead.
It goes deep. It means, when you're serving your country, your nation, it's putting yourself in the mindset of, we're going to go and meet the enemies, where they are, in order to protect our homeland, the greater USA. So it requires a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of training, a lot of soldiers, sacrificing families and things of that nature. It's a lot of sacrificing, in that. Um, even things like the divorce rate is 50%, because you are gone a lot, you know. With the new modern army, 9 out of 10 wounded people, the lives are saved and they come back, and they are disabled veterans at this point. So they have to live a life of, um, you know, um, amputee legs, arms, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, things of that nature. So they've sacrificed literally their entire life, their future. They've given it up for their country. So that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book to just talk about, a disabled vet doesn't mean they can't contribute to the future of this country, the future of this nation. So I also want corporate America to give them opportunities and jobs and create training programs and different things of that nature. And 50% of the homeless people on the streets have served. You know what I'm saying? So don't look down on those people, because in most cases, they've done more than others have. So it's very important to, just reach for somebody, not know what their story is, and lend a helping hand. And you don't know, it may open your heart up to be a better person in the future.
Where can we get your book?
You can get my book at Amazon, of course. Also, you can go to my website, servantelite.life. You also can follow me on Instagram, and there's a link there that's also official Keith L. Craig.
Sergeant Major Keith L. Craig, retired, but not retired, because he's still doing it big out there in Hollywood. And we'll hear more from him. Don't go anywhere, because July 4th, we're going to hear more about his incredible story and his incredible journey through life that I think will bless each and every one of you on Independence Day. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you.
Back with more.